Hello and welcome to my live stream. My name is Anastasia and today we will talk about nail brushes. So our stream will contain of 4 parts. First I will talk about acrylic brushes, then gel brushes, nail art brushes, and then also we will run a little bit through nail art game, and also we will have questions and answer session, so feel free to ask questions. And let's begin. If you haven't heard of nail art game yet, there is the link in the description box and you can follow it and read about the rules. So basically it's a 2 week of free nail art education, and also it's a challenge. So the best artwork, the author of the best artwork will be the winner, and there's the chance to win annual access to my online classes and also weekend getaway in North Carolina. So I think it's gonna be fun, but we will talk about it later. So let's talk about brushes, and first ones are acrylic. And let me know if somebody's working here with acrylics. And normally they come in sizes from 1 to 12. So for example, this one is number 1 and this brush is number 12. I believe there's also like brush number 14. I think I've seen it one time, but it's kind of too big for the nail. So usually it's something between these sizes. So this brush is number 6, so it goes right in between them, and size is pretty simple. The larger number of the brushes, the bigger the brush is. So number 1 is the smallest, number 12 is the biggest. So from 0 to 6, this is usually nail art brushes for design. Like for example, this one, it's number 6, it's somewhere in between. And let me give you another example. Like this brush is number 4. So this is for 3D art. So 0 from 6 is more for the art, and 6 to 12 is more like nail sculpting brushes. So the most common number for nail sculpting acrylic brush is number 8. This is the one I use. And let me show you my favorite brush. This is NSI Precision. And I believe number 8 is like the most popular, but if you are only beginning to work with acrylic, I suggest you take brush number 6. It's a little bit smaller and it's a little bit easier to work with it because it's just easier to control a smaller brush. Why do we need larger sizes? Well, I use number 10 or even 12 sometimes when I need to sculpt long nails, when I need to do stilettos or encapsulate design, something like that. And I also know few nail technicians who prefer large size of the brush. And you know, brush, it's really personal. It's like, I don't know, a toothbrush or a shoes. So you choose something that fits you perfectly and then you always work with it. So there's no actual best brush in the world. If somebody will tell you like this is the best brush ever and it will solve all your problems, do not listen to them. It's just not possible, right? There's no best car in the world or the best man in the world, right? It's different for everybody. The same for the brushes. So also, besides the size, there is such thing as shape of the brush. And when it comes to acrylic, it's pretty simple because there are only 2 kinds of the shape. So one is rounded. This one, for example, you see, when we look at the handle, we can see a round here. And also there's oval, or sometimes they're called flat. You see, it has some flat part in here and it looks more oval. So when you look at this metallic handle, if you see this part which is a little bit flat, that means it's an oval brush. And I personally prefer to work with oval brushes because it's just easier to work near the cuticle, it's easier to stretch the product. And rounded brushes, I only find them comfortable when I want to encapsulate some design. And also I noticed that large size of the brushes like 10 to 12, they also usually come in rounded, and sometimes it's comfortable. Another thing is hair or bristle. And normally acrylic brushes, they are natural. Well, not normally. I believe I haven't ever seen synthetic acrylic brush. Let me know if you did, because I think it just doesn't exist. So natural brushes, they are made from Kolinsky, and Kolinsky is the name of the animal, just in case you didn't know, and it's not the name of the brand. And also, just for the record, the brands I used to work with, they told me they don't kill animals for it, so they just take the hair from the tail and let them go. So you can usually see the, like it says Kolinsky on the brush, so that's how you know. Or you can ask the place where you're buying your brush what it is made of. And for example, here we also have a Kolinsky. I hope you're able to see it. And Kolinsky is just the best one. I also worked with sable and squirrel brush for acrylic, but their bristles, they're too soft. They do not really hold their shape, so Kolinsky is just the best one. Also, there is such thing as handle. And for acrylic, they can be wooden. They also might be plastic. Like plastic also can be different. It can be clear sometimes, like for example, this brush is plastic also, but you see it's like more with something black. And also there's aluminum or other metal they are made of. And what's the difference? Well, it's not only about how fancy they look. Usually girls will choose this one, right? Because of the rhinestones, but that's not only the case. So wood, unfortunately, it absorbs monomer. So if you will work with your brush and then you will leave it on a napkin which is saturated with a monomer, then it will absorb, and once you take your brush in your hands again, you will have the direct contact with the monomer, and that leads to allergy reactions. And I believe even though if you work in the gloves, still avoid doing this, like keeping the brush on the napkin or anywhere the acrylic can't get into it. That's why the wooden brushes are a little bit, well, not as safe, but if it happened already, it's not a problem. All you can do is to take a file, like file it off and cover it with a top coat again, and it will be like new. Plastic doesn't absorb monomer, but it can get ruined. So let me show you my brush. This is Super Nail, and as you can see, it's been working for years. And well, unfortunately, plastic, especially the clear ones, they look nice only when they're new. After you work with them for a while, they get kind of sticky, gooey, and all this product gets into it, so it doesn't look as nice anymore. But once again, we can renew it. And what to aluminum brushes or metallic, it's to me just the best ones because it's easier to clean. They do not absorb any monomer, and well, you just won't get any allergic reactions. But obviously aluminum handle is the most expensive ones. So handle, it's not definitely something you need to look for in the brush only, but when you have a choice, like if I had a choice to choose the same brush but I have different selection of the handle, I would definitely choose the aluminum one. Also, brushes, sometimes they come just like this, or sometimes there is a handle. And it's very important in acrylic brushes that there is a hole in it, because acrylic brush, it always has some monomer in the bristle, so if the air won't be able, you know, to run through, it will be very bad for the brush. So there's one brush, yes, I have it here, and well, okay, I will not tell you the name. So they don't have the hole here, and I suggest if you have a brush like this, simply create the hole with electric drill or just ask your husband to do it, and then you can use safely this brush. Or if there's no hole, you can simply, okay, it's not opening, you can simply open it and keep it like this. Because when we close it and there's no way for the air to get in, it will not last very long. Next thing is cleaning and care. So acrylic brushes, the best that you can do to them is to clean them in a monomer, just pure monomer. It really doesn't matter which one. You probably have a monomer that you don't like, or the old monomer, or I don't know, the monomer that it's too fast for you. It's fine, just use it for cleaning. And there's one thing I really recommend from my experience, to not ever use it to your acrylic brushes: brush cleaner. It doesn't really matter which brand, because brush cleaners, they always contain acetone, and acetone, it dries the bristle of the brush, and not only the bristle but this original liquid. They, well, not liquid, like they have this coverage of the bristle. Yes, not acetone. And the brush will be too dry, and trust me, it won't work as good anymore. You won't be able to have this sharp point anymore. Well, if the brush got stuck too bad, like you had a hard acrylic in it, then okay, sometimes you can use acetone or brush cleaner, but just you need to know that it won't be working very good anymore. So if acrylic got stuck in it, what I suggest, first of all, you need to put it in a clean monomer for, you know, like a few minutes. It really depends on how long the hard acrylic been in there, and then to brush it. So normally I've seen people that are using orange wood stick or even pushers or their own nails, and they're like cleaning like that, but that's really bad for your brush. So let's do it like this. Maybe you have a long hair like me, or maybe you know somebody who does. And what happens when, you know, we can't just, how do we brush them? If something is stuck in there, we do it carefully, starting from the roots, holding it like that, right? So I suggest you to do the same. You can take a plush brush, well, this is the brush by NSI, or this kind of brush, or there's the brush for eyelashes. It's like a small brush, and take your brush and carefully get everything out. It will be a lot better rather than you will just, you know, hardly put this hard part with the orange wood stick and end up with taking off a bunch of the excess hair. So it's, well, but if acrylic was stuck in there for like several days, then yeah, unfortunately even this method will not help, and you will need to use acetone or brush cleaner. But just so you know that this brush will be for not, well, it will not be your best brush anymore, unfortunately. So how do we keep acrylic brushes? Well, the best way is to keep them horizontal like this. And I used my old handles from the e-files to put my most frequently used brushes like this, or we can keep them somewhere like in the case. Okay, they're not secured. Or if you like don't have something like that, at least put them like this, downwards, so the bristle is facing the floor, not like this. If you will ever put them in a glass like this, we will end up with a monomer slowly getting in there in the bristle, and then the corrosive will appear, and we will have yellow in our white and in our acrylic, oh my god, clear acrylic. So hold it like this or horizontal, and if you have a handle, that's very good, because it really helps to, it just keeps the bristles all together. Just be careful when closing it. I don't know if yeah, I think I have even bad examples here, like if you don't close it very carefully, you see some of the hair will be like that, and well, this brush will not be as good. So what is the best brush, and what is the good brush, and what is the bad one? Well, if you will see a brush that looks like this, you see, well, itself, this brush is not bad, it's just old. You see there's no actual sharp point at the end, and it's bad. So a good acrylic brush should always always have a sharp point. That means you will be able to create a crisp smile lines. Well, I touched it a little, that's why it doesn't have, but once you clean it in a monomer, it will be sharp. So clean it like this with a napkin. So I'm not just cleaning it, just do this rounded motions until you create a sharp point and then store it. Never ever clean them in the water with a soap, with acetone, like I told you, only clean monomer. Brushes loves monomers. Okay, so this was the acrylic brushes part, and now we will go to the gel ones. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I already see your comments. Hello world, hello Spain, hello Mexico, Italy. It's really glad to see you here today. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about gel brushes. For gel brushes, I used to believe that the best gel brushes are synthetic, and now I changed my mind, and now I think that both synthetic and natural gel brushes can be good. It just depends on the particular brush. So as for the size, it's the same with the gel brushes. The smaller number is the larger brush. So like this one is brush number 1, and like this is brush number 5, and this is brush number 4. So the larger number is the larger brush is. And then we have the shape, and gel brushes are usually square or rounded, and I personally prefer rounded shape like this one. Oh, and let me show you my last favorite. Well, this is one of those, and also this one. Oh, it's not the one. This one, number 6 gel oval. As you can see, it's flat, but it's rounded right here. So it's really a matter of taste, but I like rounded because it's just easier to work near the cuticle to stretch them. And I also know nail technicians who are perfectly happy with the square, so it's really a matter of choice. As for the size, it's the same. If you're a beginner, I recommend to take a brush number 4 to 6. Like 4, 5, 6 will be okay. And if you are pro, I suggest you already know what kind of brush do you like. And also there's an interesting topic regarding the size of the gel brush. I mean the material they are made of. So synthetic brushes are usually more hard, and also there is a myth that says if the brush is brown, that means it's natural, and if the brush is some other color, that means it's synthetic. So it's not like that. Synthetic also can be brown, it may be black, it may be white, it may be many different colors. But natural, they're always brown, something between brown and light brown. And now I will give you a tip how to understand that, just even without taking the brush, because natural hair is always softer. So if you look to the brush closer, you can see that actually its color is kind of ombre. It's darker here and lighter here. Well, just like my hair, but it's darker in the roots, lighter on the edges, and the same here. So this is what the natural brush are. If you will take a look at the synthetic ones, you will see that actually the color is all the same from the top to the bottom. Well, like this white, it's obvious that it's synthetic, like this one. See, it's darker here and lighter here. So I personally now, at this moment of my professional career, I prefer natural gel brushes. But if I want to, I don't know, create some short nails where I really don't care what the brush will be, I can take in synthetic. So I used to work with synthetic brushes only, but now I switched to the natural. And if you are a beginner, I also suggest you to take natural brush. It's a little bit easier to work with them. There was a question, what is the best number of acrylic brush? And for sculpting, I believe the best number is 8 to 10, like between 8 and 10. But it really depends on what product you're working with, of your skill, whether you're a beginner or professional. So like I said, there's no actual best brush in the world, like there's no best man in the world. It really depends on what you want to work on. Okay, so gel brushes, also there's the myth that it is better to clean them with a cleanse, and please don't do that. I used to do it for several years, for like first 6 years of my career, and now I understand why they were not living so long. So what this cleanse does, it always contains butyl acetate, and also it dries up the bristles, and the brush is not holding its shape anymore, so it goes like this, you know, like, I don't know, well, like it looks more like a fan brush rather than a square brush. So the best thing you can do to your gel brush is to clean it in a base coat. It might be a gel polish base coat, or it can be a regular gel top coat. And well, when I will finish talking about the brushes, I will switch to my table camera and will show you how to actually you can clean it. So if you're working, let's say, with a black or glitter gel and you just want to clean it, you should take a drop of the base coat, and this is, well, it's like a paper form, like paper from the forms. Take a drop of the base coat, clean it in like you're washing in the water. Just imagine this, the water, clean it. Then take a dry napkin. Well, it's better to have not just a regular napkin, but a lint-free wipe. Clean it and put it away. So gel brush should always be a little bit in the gel. That's how it will hold its shape. And actually touching it with a finger is not right. And also gel brushes, sometimes they come with a handle, sometimes they don't, but it's really important to keep them out of natural light, because once a little light go into them, they will get hard, and unfortunately there is no way to recover them. So always keep them in some closed containers or find the caps for them. I unfortunately destroyed some of my gel brushes because of that. Even, you know, a small ray of light is enough, like coming from your window. It doesn't have to be necessarily in front of the sun. Also, when you're practicing, make sure that your lamp is in that position that the light just won't get on it. So this is how we clean it, and storage is exactly the same like with acrylic brushes. So store them horizontal, or put them in some containers, but also make sure that the bristles are facing the floor, not the ceiling. Okay, so I think it was all I wanted to say about the gel brushes. Oh, and regarding the handle, it's about the same as with acrylic. So the wooden handle absorbs monomers, and even though it seems like there's no monomer in gel, actually we have a sticky layer, which is something we can get allergy from. So if you're working with a gel, the jars are usually all in the gel. Also make sure that it's not touching the wooden handle. If it does, make sure that you clean it, file it, and seal it with a top coat again. Plastic brushes are way easier to clean, as well as aluminum brushes, and also they look pretty good for a longer time usually. So like I said, my personal choice is aluminum and metal brushes, but sometimes, you know, the brush is so good you're just not looking at its handle. And how to choose a good gel brush. It's a little bit trickier than to choose an acrylic, because in acrylic, when you're choosing it in the shop, all you need to look for if there's a sharp point, and unfortunately just by looking at it you can't check all other features. You need to actually try it. So my suggestion is just to look for the reviews, to look for the feedbacks. But if you will always choose the brush or the product of your favorite nail tech or blogger or educator, it doesn't mean, unfortunately, that you will take the same brush, the same product, and it will work the same way. It's just because we have all different backgrounds, different skills, and it's really important to find a tool that is perfectly suits you personally. It's really a personal instrument. So today my goal is to give you an idea of the variety of brushes and how to choose the one that fits best for you. Okay, I think that was about the gel brushes, and we have a question from Sally. Is it okay the gel brush could clean by acetone if the hard gel on brush? Well, yes, you can, but if it's hard because of the light, and usually it's just not possible, it's all gets hard. But if there's like a small part of it, then yeah, well, first try the method I told you earlier. Just try, to brush it out with some small size brush, just with nothing. And if it doesn't work, then yeah, you can try acetone. But if it was traditional gel, not the soak-off, the acetone won't help. But if we were talking about gel polish or soak-off gels, then yes, acetone will help. And okay, now let's go to the nail art brushes. And unfortunately, I can't cover all nail art brushes in the world. Well, I don't even know all of them, and it's just too much of the topic, so we will just cover the basics of them. So let's talk about the most frequently used brushes. Brushes for thin lines, so-called brushes where you want to create some details or geometry. And I will show you my favorite ones. And also they can be natural, they can be synthetic. Nail art brushes are definitely a matter of personal taste. So I like this brush. It's number 0 and it's natural. And also I have the same with a longer bristle. I hope it focuses. And also I don't know, this brush I got from some artist shop. Unfortunately I can't find it anymore. Also I have NSI HD detailer brush. It's a little bit messed up. It's synthetic and it's also good for the thin lines. And also I have a Russian brand Rublev number 1. And honestly, it really depends on which brush is just laying closer to me when I want to create something with it. And I suggest for beginners, the natural brush is a little bit easier to control because it's softer, because you can move it around, and synthetic is more hard. But there is a synthetic striper brush. I think I don't have like exactly, well, this is kind of a striper brush. They also come in a longer bristles, and sometimes it's just easier, to place it and create a long line. And in nail art brushes also it's all about the edge, so it should be sharp all the time. And also, like all other features, you can only know them when you try it. But always look if there's no hair, looking outside. Sometimes you can cut them, but I'm lazy. I usually prefer to buy brushes of such quality where I don't really need to cut them out. Well, it's okay if it's like artist brushes, the ones you buy in a craft shop, but if it's a branded brush, I really like if it's already pre-cut and prepared and ready to use. And the brushes I just mentioned, natural and synthetic, they can be used for gel, for acrylic. But if you want to create designs with acrylic or watercolor paints, the better solution for them is definitely the natural brushes, also made from Kolinsky. So with the storage and care and cleaning of nail art brushes, it's simple. If it's the brush you're using for acrylic designs, like this one I use for 3D acrylics, or number 6 I also use for 3D or some bigger elements. So if you're doing acrylic designs with a brush, then you should treat it like acrylic brush. Always wash it in the monomer, do not use brush cleaner, and just always clean it with a napkin so no acrylic will get stuck in it. If it's the brush you are using for a gel designs, then you should treat it like a gel brush. Avoid sunlight, avoid any other light. Honestly, even some kind of lights also might get the gel hard, like the lights they usually have in the trade shows. My brushes get destroyed very often after some shows because of this crazy, like, you know, special luminous lights they have in there sometimes. So you should avoid that also. Is it okay the nail art acrylic brush to gel nail art? So that's a great question. So when I started, I was like, okay, they told me that this brush is for acrylic, so I'm gonna use it for acrylic. And this, like the word here says gel, I'm gonna use it for gel. But when I tried it differently, it turns out that no, like you can use any brush for anything. But if you bought a new brush, let's say this one, and now you want to create gel designs with it, it's natural, it's fine, but you can only now use it for the gel. Like you cannot take the same brush and use it today for the gel, tomorrow for acrylic. No, unfortunately it will not work this way. So just take one brush, whether synthetic or natural, and make it like your acrylic brush and your gel brush. And the same for paints, acrylic, watercolor, oil based, any kind of paints. Like I have my special painting brushes, and I usually well, unfortunately I probably don't, well, I usually mark them like with a red dot, and like just so you know, you have a brush for your paints, only use it for your paints. You have acrylic brush, treat it like acrylic brush, and the same for the gel. So this brush, which is meant to be acrylic, I use for the gel also. How do you clean brush when using acrylic paint? Actually, we will go to this topic just in a minute. So yes, you can use the same brush for acrylic and gel, just keep them separate. Okay, so we were talking about nail art brushes. We ran through the striper or thin line so-called brushes. Now let's talk about other shapes. So also we have a square brushes, and usually they are used for one stroke. There's the regular square, and also there is different square. And it really depends on what you're using them for, because there is such thing as one stroke with a gel, then you should treat it and care like a gel brush. But if you're using paints, then you should wash it in a regular water. As I said, for regular paints, it is better to use natural brushes, whether it's square or it's just a regular striper, and then you wash them in the water. That's the only kind of brushes you are allowed to wash in the water, your painting brushes. And then after you're done working with them, the best what you can do to take care of them is to take cuticle oil, just one drop, and put it on a bristle. It will actually work like a conditioner to your hair. It will make them soft and easier to brush. But this rule works only for brushes you used for painting with acrylic paint, watercolor, oil paints, and that's it, okay? Oil cannot go on your acrylic or gel brush. It will not do any good. I hope, Ashley, I answered your question. So cleaning your nail art brushes for the paints is just with the regular water. If some paint gets stuck in there, then you need to hold it in the water a little bit longer, but still eventually it will wash off. So these are usually the brushes that are easier to take care of, but also you need to find some handles in them. If you don't have one, sometimes I use this is like a straw for the cocktails, and you can cut it and also use it. Well, you really need to find a good size. They said natural brush for only acrylic paint, when the synthetic brush only for gel. Yes, so that's what I thought few years, but you know what, I tried to use natural brush for the gel, and I love how it works. So you know, I believe in art there's no such rules like you can only do this and this. It really works. Just make sure you keep it out of the light. Make sure that now if you used it for gel, this brush is now only for gel, but it works. So yeah, but for acrylic, synthetic brushes doesn't work. So for gel, anything you want, and for acrylic it's better to use the natural ones. Okay, now let's continue talking about nail art brushes. So besides thin lines and square for the one stroke, we also have fan brushes, and you can use them for ombre, for multicolor backgrounds, and also you can use them, the best way actually to use them is for applying glitter or accessories, because they're large. It's just easier to take something from the jar and apply it on the nail, and usually they come natural, and I believe it's what they're good for. Also, you can clean the excess pigment, the excess chrome from the nail if you need to. And also we have special so-called shape brushes, like for example I really like the Smile Line brush. So you see, if you look closer, it's not just the line, it's actually half of the smile line. And my good friend, colleague, she designed those brushes. It's called Smile and Deep Smile. So how to work with it, you simply take the nail and put it like one side and another side, and the smile line is done. I will show you later the workshop on my channel definitely about this brush. So just one is regular and the one is more dramatic, and it's synthetic as it was designed for the gel. Also, you maybe seen, if you've been watching my channel, the ombre brush. It's square, but you see the upper row of the bristles, it's more rare. So it's really easy to do ombre, to blend colors, to create multicolor background with this brush, and it's synthetic, and actually it usually works with a gel. And I think that's almost all I wanted to say about the nail art brushes. And besides regular brushes like the one I just mentioned, there are also special brushes we're using sometimes, like silicone ones. For example, there are different kind of shapes for silicone brushes, and normally they are used for 3D gel designs, and that's what they're supposed to use for. But as I don't do many gel designs, you know, they're very good for actually cleaning your application, like you're applying gel polish or something else, and then you see that some product get into to the skin, then you can simply clean it. Also, if you're just creating any kind of nail art, if you're doing thin lines and you want to fix it, you can do it with a silicone brush. It's a lot easier to do it with this one. Ashley is asking, what's your favorite way to apply Swarovski crystal? Ashley, I have a special video and webinar about it. You need to look through my channel. There is a video called Bling Webinar, and my favorite way to apply them is just to use the top coat and regular small brush like this one. So the silicone brushes, they're also like this shape is very good for rubbing in our favorite pigments like chrome or any others. And also this brush is just good for taking off the gel out of the jar. Like, you know, when the gel is almost finished and you have some small amounts of the gel all around the jar, with this brush you can use it till the last drop. It's just really easy to work with this one. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding the brushes, feel free to ask, and I will now switch to my next topic, which is about the nail art game. Oh, no, I was going to also show you how to clean brush, so I will demo the cleaning of the gel brush now, and then we will talk a little bit about the nail art game. I hope you could get another acrylic. I got lifting all the time. Okay, yeah, I'm actually doing recording a video about this topic, about lifting. It will be soon on my channel, but yeah, I plan to go live more often. So yeah, if you have any ideas for my future live streams or videos, just feel free to send them on my Instagram, on Facebook, or here, just anywhere you want. I usually read all the comments. So cleaning the gel brush. I am sorry, for a moment you will see the ceiling, and I will switch. Yes. Okay, let me get closer. For example, we are doing some design using black gel, right? Usually it's the one which is the harder to clean. And also I'm using the base, well, I'm using the one by Dance Legend. This is the Russian brand, but you can use any. I would like to see how to use the ombre brush. Yes, actually that's also in my plans for the videos, but a few days ago I posted a video on my channel. It's called Glitter Ombre, and I demoed this brush in work. So yeah, feel free to watch it after we finish. Okay, so let's pretend that I'm taking my black gel and creating some design. Oh, actually this brush is, yeah, it's a little bit cured already. You see, like the bristles, they're not separating. Oh well. So the thinner brush, the thinner gel you will find, the better. So you can use base coat for the gel polish, or you can use the base coat for traditional gel, but it's just better to use a thinner consistency rather than a thick one. So then to clean it, well, first you can get rid of the excess product just on a paper. You can use, you see, this is like shiny paper. It's like a paper from the forms, or you can use a napkin, but it's better to choose the ones, you see, this one is textured. It's not very good for the brush. It's better to choose a smooth one, like the Kleenex usually produce them. This is the best brand for the napkins. And then you see, we're washing basically the brush in the base coat. Do not do it like back and forth. You see, always keep the direction straight, so we will not mess up our bristles. And you see, now all the black went in there and the brush is clean. It's not leaving those spots anymore. So now there's a little bit gel left, and then we can clean it with a brush. Like I told you, this is not the best one. Unfortunately, I didn't take my favorite ones today. And now the brush is ready for the storage. And the same way of clean, well, almost the same of cleaning acrylic brushes. First of all, you need to clean it with a napkin all the time. Every time you pick a bead, then you picked a bead, put it on the nail, then your next move should be always cleaning this side of the brush with a napkin. Also, eventually the monomer and small parts of acrylic will be all over your napkin, so make sure you clean it on a different area, not the one you just used for. You see, this one is already old, so make sure you always change the napkins and do not touch the old parts. And this is what we do to our brush. Also make sure that you clean the handle, because if you will leave too much monomer in it, eventually this metallic part will corrode. I just confused. I thought you could clean the gel brush by alcohol. Well, Sal, you can, but I told you, I figure out that they actually do not live very long rather than cleaning them with a base coat. So alcohol, acetone, they dry up the bristles, which is cleaning them, yes, but it's also making them very dry, and they do not keep together as good anymore. So it's just my suggestion, just try to do this for your brush. It will definitely not destroy it. I mean, the gel cannot destroy the gel brush, and you will see that actually they're working longer now. Okay, now let me switch back to this mode. So this was my live stream about the nail art brushes. Wow, it's been 45 minutes. I thought it was like 5 minutes only. So if you have any questions regarding the brushes, or maybe something different regarding the nails, love your dedication, learn a lot from you. Can't wait to learn more about nail art game. Thank you very much, Nikisha. And yes, I'm also really thankful to you guys for all your support, because I had so many downs when I just started this channel because of my accent, because sometimes I forget words or just pronounce them in a weird way, and I'm truly, like, your support helped me a lot to actually keep doing this, because I never ever heard any bad word from my followers. You only guys encouraged me, and I'm really thankful for that. So regarding the nail art game, this is the nail art class and the challenge at the same time, which will begin in September 1st. There will be 7 lessons, 7 different designs, and you need to recreate them. Like I will show you, for example, like, I don't know, the rose, and you need to recreate it, and other participants will do the same, and you need to do it within 2 days. So like the first design will be on September 1st, and then you need to recreate this design until September 3rd. So you will have 2 days for recreating each design, and the deadline of the whole challenge will be September 15. So if you recreate all 7 designs before the deadline, which is September 15, you will be among the finalists, and the best artwork among the finalists will get the best prize, which is a weekend getaway in North Carolina and annual access to the lessons. So the most common question I received recently was, if I am not working with acrylic, can I join? And yes, the answer is yes. Honestly, I haven't thought about it when we were designing it, but thanks for your questions and the time frame we had. Usually I don't do that much in advance, but this time I did, and now I created the designs in such way, then yes, some designs will be gel only, some designs will be shown in both acrylic and gel, or gel polish, and you can pick any technique that you like, because I understand that some of you might be allergic, or some of you just don't know how to work with acrylic, and it shouldn't be an obstacle to winning the prize. So we will have support for this game, I mean technical support if something will be not working out, and also I plan to do this live streams maybe every 2 weeks or something like that, and give you more information about the nail art game. So there's the link in the description box. If you haven't joined the nail art game, it's the best time to do it now. Also consider subscribing to my channel, because I post different videos, educational ones, 2 to 3 times in a week, and plan to keep doing this. And thank you so much for your feedback, for your kind words, that really helped me. And if you have any questions regarding nail art game or brushes, or maybe something else, we have a couple minutes left, and now you can ask them. My dad from Ukraine, you remind of his accent from the UK. Love your channel. Thank you, Susan, so much. Okay, we have a question about acrylic. I think I missed that. Okay, so thank you for the information. Acrylic. So if you guys missed some information, I just told you about acrylic brushes, how to choose, what's the size, it's all in this video. I will keep it on my channel, it will not disappear, so then you can rewind me and listen to it again just right after I finish. It will be available. so feel free to watch it. Just give me a thumb up so I will know that you liked it. And thank you so much for joining me today. And Nikisha needs a video on gel polish application. Oh my god, are you reading my mind? I just made one and it will be, I hope I will be able to edit it tomorrow, so it will be out on Wednesday. And this is a video I did when my friend came to me and she got some gel polish application in the salon, and there's the video of how I'm fixing it. Hello, Scarlett from Belgium. Okay guys, so unfortunately it's time to go. I really enjoy spending the time with you, and I think we can make it a tradition, and I will really hope that we will meet here more often, like every 2 weeks, maybe even 1 week. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in my next video. Subscribe to my channel, join the nail art game, and we will talk soon. Bye. And I also know few nail technicians who prefer large size of the brush, and you know, brush, it's really personal. It's like, I don't know, a toothbrush or a shoes. So you choose something that fits you perfectly, and then you always work with it. So there's no actual best brush in the world. If somebody will tell you like this is the best brush ever and it will solve all your problems, do not listen to them. It's just not possible. Right? There's no best car in the world or the best man in the world, right? It's different for everybody, the same for the brushes. So also, besides the size, there is such thing as shape of the brush. And when it comes to acrylic, it's pretty simple because there are only two kinds of the shape. So one is rounded. This one, for example, you see, when we look at the handle, we can see around here. And also there's oval, or sometimes they're called flat. You see it has some flat part in here and it looks more oval. So when you look at this metallic handle, if you see this part which is a little bit flat, that means it's an oval brush. And I personally prefer to work with oval brushes because it's just easier to work near the cuticle, it's easier to stretch the product. And rounded brushes, I only find them comfortable when I want to encapsulate some design. And also I noticed that large usually it's something between these sizes. So this brush is number 6, so it goes right in between them, and size is pretty simple. The larger number of the brushes, the bigger the brushes. So number 1 is the smallest, number 12 is the biggest. So from 0 to 6, this is usually nail art brushes for design. Like for example, this one, it's number 6, it's somewhere in between. And let me give you another example. Like this brush is number 4. So this is for 3D art. So 0 from 6 is more for the art, and 6 to 12 is more like nail sculpting brushes. So the most common number for nail sculpting acrylic brush is number 8. This is the one I use. And let me show you my favorite brush. This is NSI Precision. And I believe number 8 is like the most popular, but if you are only beginning to work with acrylic, I suggest you take brush number 6. It's a little bit smaller and it's a little bit easier to work with it because it's just easier to control a smaller brush. Why do we need larger sizes? Well, I use number 10 or even 12 sometimes when I need to sculpt long nails, when I need to do stilettos or encapsulate design, something like that. Size of the brushes like 10 to 12, they also usually come in rounded, and sometimes it's comfortable. Another thing is hair or bristle. And normally acrylic brushes, they are natural. Well, not normally, I believe I haven't ever seen synthetic acrylic brush. Let me know if you did, because I think it just doesn't exist. So natural brushes, they are made from Kolinsky, and Kolinsky is the name of the animal, just in case you didn't know, and it's not the name of the brand. And also, just for the record, the brands I used to work with, they told me they don't kill animals for it, so they just take the hair from the tail and let them go. So you can usually see like it says Kolinsky on the brush, so that's how you know. Or you can ask the place where you're buying your brush what it is made of. And for example, here we also have a Kolinsky. I hope you're able to see it. And Kolinsky is just the best one. I also worked with sable and squirrel brush for acrylic, but their bristles, they are too soft. They do not really hold their shape, so Kolinsky is just the best one. Also, there is such thing as handle. And for acrylic, they can be wooden. They also might be. Hello and welcome to my live stream. My name is Anastasia, and today we will talk about nail brushes. So our stream will contain of 4 parts. First, I will talk about acrylic brushes, then gel brushes, nail art brushes, and then also we will run a little bit through nail art game, and also we will have questions and answer session, so feel free to ask questions. And let's begin. If you haven't heard of nail art game yet, there is the link in the description box, and you can follow it and read about the rules. So basically it's a 2-week of free nail art education, and also it's a challenge. So the best artwork, the author of the best artwork will be the winner, and there's the chance to win annual access to my online classes and also weekend getaway in North Carolina. So I think it's gonna be fun, but we will talk about it later. So let's talk about brushes, and first ones are acrylic. And let me know if somebody's working here with acrylics. And normally they come in sizes from 1 to 12. So for example, this one is number 1 and this brush is number 12. I believe there is also like brush number 14. I think I've seen it one time, but it's kind of too big for the nail. So you use plastic. Like plastic also can be different. It can be clear sometimes, like for example this brush is plastic also, but you see it's like more with something black. And also there's aluminum or other metal they are made of. And what's the difference? Well, it's not only about how fancy they look. Usually girls will choose this one, right? Because of the rhinestones, but that's not only the case. So wood, unfortunately, it absorbs monomer. So if you will work with your brush and then you will leave it on a napkin which is saturated with a monomer, then it will absorb, and once you take your brush in your hands again, you will have the direct contact with the monomer, and that leads to allergy reactions. And I believe even though if you work in a gloves, still avoid doing this, like keeping the brush on the napkin or anywhere the acrylic can't get into it. That's why the wooden brushes are a little bit, well, not as safe, but if it happened already, it's not a problem. All you can do is to take a file, like file it off and cover it with a top coat again, and it will be like new. Plastic doesn't absorb monomer, but it can get ruined. So let me show you my brush. This is Super Nail, and as you can see, it's been working for years. And well, unfortunately, plastic, especially the clear ones, they look nice only when they're new.